me, the whole TT thing started way back in the 80s. My mate Nick went every year and would come back with tales of the racing, partying and of course Mad Sunday. He asked me to go along every year, but there was always some reason I couldn't go. Well, Nick passed away in the 90s with a brain tumour, way too young, and I've regretted those missed opportunities ever since. Where are we going?
We're going to Liverpool. North Wales.
So when we all started riding bikes again, at a certain age, I mentioned the TT to the guys, and to a man, they all said that the TT was on their bucket list too. So we made the decision to go and booked ferry crossings and camping for practice week in 2020. Then of course, COVID happened, and it took another 2 years before we could finally get to the island. We did manage to change our ferry crossings to race week for 2022 though. I guess the main thing that you think about before you go is the racing. I was quite disappointed when I found out that we'd only see 2 full days of racing. It felt like I hadn't planned it very well. However, my main take-home message, having now been, is that it's not just the racing. The racing is just one part of it. It's the whole thing, the whole experience, the whole time on the island. With around 40,000 spectators going over for TT fortnight, the atmosphere is absolutely amazing. There are motorbikes, bikers and race fans everywhere that you go. Douglas and Ramsey are packed, accommodation is sold out years in advance. The whole place is taken over by bikers and race fans. When you ride anywhere on the island, there are thousands of bikes on the road all of the time. Bikes outnumber every other form of transport and take on a whole new priority at the TT. Everything is set up for bikes. It's quite simply biker nirvana. There is no other experience like it. It is unique, and now I fully understand why people go back year after year. So for those wondering why Jamesy was on crutches, despite everyone's immediate assumption that he had crashed on some crazy lap of the course, the truth was that we had little incident on the trip up from South Wales to Liverpool. Let's just say that a nice lady in a Range Rover decided that she didn't need to give way to the 4 heavily loaded bikes on a single track road. In the haste to avoid her and also the 10-foot drop at the side of the road, Jamesy lost the front wheel as he tried to stop on a thin gravel strip, and in the process of trying to hold the bike up, he tore his hamstring. After laughing for quite a little while, we slowly realised that he had actually done some real damage, and thought that the trip was over right there. After juggling several options, including turning around and heading to Shrewsbury Hospital, we finally managed to get him back on the bike, and he rode in some considerable pain to the ferry port in Liverpool. There were some other shenanigans getting on and off the ferry, but he did eventually get to the campsite. A very big shout out to TT Campsite, also known as Douglas Rugby Club, who were absolutely amazing and drove Jamesy up to Noble's Hospital the next morning and assisted in every way possible to make sure he was okay. After that, Jamesy spent the week as a pillion on the back of Richie's bike, with his crutches across his lap. By the end of the week, he was quite famous. So that's it, our first TT in 2022 done. We will definitely be back in 2024 to continue our discovery of the amazing Isle of Man Tourist Trophy. In the meantime, here are just a few highlights.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cracking
Good day of racing.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.